Testing, testing. Seconds. Yep.
Let's do this.
Game time. 78.6 FM Yomotan. Welcome back. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome. And once again, on a great Saturday, even though it's raining outside, there's a lot of sunshine in here because I'm joined by my special co-host who promised he'd be back, Mr. Scott Garricky, as I call him, Mr. G.
Mr. G.
Welcome back, Mr. G.
How are you?
Hey, good.
Good, Winsome.
We got the equipment now. So Mr. G was a test run last time, right?
That's right.
This time we can look at each other. He knows what's going on. We can see, we know what's happening behind the scenes. Mr. G, it's a pleasure having you back, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. What are we talking about today?
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure being back here, and I really do appreciate all the work that you do, and especially with this show and everything. And I appreciate that very, very much. I know it's not easy just walking in and doing this thing, so I appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about self-reflection.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, self-reflection is one of those things that, you put on that list of things you need to do and you don't do it.
Right.
We're going to talk a little bit about some of that as well.
I like that. We were supposed to have a guest on this morning, Miss Mashiko. She's going to be back in May, from what I'm understanding, right?
That's right.
So she's also a college professor. She teaches Japanese. So we have a little deal. She's going to teach me some Japanese, and I'm going to teach her some English before we roll out. So it's going to be a language exchange.
There you go.
And so first segment today, we're going to talk a lot about pretty much catching up, right? So what's been going on in January, February? Second segment, we're going to start rolling into the topic of self-reflection. Of course, it's important, as you guys heard from Mr. Foster last week, Joel Foster, about his angles on reflection and things that we can do. Mr. G's took a lot of time to also, we're going to dig into that a little bit and give you some more to think about. And what is self-reflection and why is that important? And what's going on around Okinawa? Well, we're excited. We got some movies coming back to the theaters. And a day job, I call it that instead of base, right?
That's right.
At the day job, we got a lot of stuff happening. Some really cool movies. We're ending up wrapping up Black History Month tomorrow, is the 28th. So we had a lot of cool guests here this month. A lot of great movies came out for us to talk about. Cool interviews. I was able to interview Mr. Richard Citrone, stuntman for the upcoming movie Justice League. And he's in Army of the Dead, another Zack Snyder movie that's coming out in March, April. So these two movies, he said he's going to do it again for us for the Air Force Sergeants Association and the Wounded Warriors team. So we're going to be able to interview him. Got a great interview coming up on Monday with the British Mike Tyson. This is going to be awesome. A new up-and-coming fighter who's going to talk about how he went from being basically a waiter to a chef at the restaurant. And then on his side, he was chasing his passion, his dream, which is becoming a fighter. And he's been knocking people out left and right. So he's going to talk about what energy, what he pulls that strength from every time he steps into the ring, which I think is awesome. All month we've been talking about self-care at the day job.
That's right. And
self-care has been awesome. Mr. G, you got to sit in my long-winded class.
Yes, I did. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Especially when you talked about the bald man. Man.
We're trying to find a bald man hair middle-aged club around
here. That's right. That's awesome.
So, talking about connectedness, things to do in Okinawa, and not just if you're here. And I'm going to slow my pace down. I get excited when Mr. G's around. But I have to remind myself that our listeners are American and Japanese.
That's right.
So if you're listening, thank you so much. I promised the listeners that 2021 was going to be so much better than 2022. And you guys are blessed with views, listens on YouTube, listening live right now at 78.6 FM Yomotan. Thank you for listening to Positive Vibes with Winsome. There's something I didn't get to do last time. We had two guests in the room. It was you and Chance. I didn't get to ask you like the basic interview questions. Do you mind, Mr. G?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Mr. G, where are you from originally?
Well, it's been said that people There are people that were born in Texas and people that wish they were born in Texas.
Yes, they are. Yep.
So I was born in Irving, Texas, about 2 miles away from the stadium.
Nice.
Back in the day, and it was a long time ago. And then at 5 years old, me and my family, we went down to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Because that's where I grew up.
Florida.
Yep, Florida. Both my parents, grandparents were both down there.
Wow.
And my aunt and uncle were down there, so I got to see my cousins and everything.
Nice.
That was really cool.
Nice.
Growing up with them. So I grew up down in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. So you were Fort Lauderdale from Texas. That's a huge jump, by the way. And then what did you end up doing from there? Did you go straight to school? Did you go, where did you go to school at?
Right. I graduated high school.
Okay.
And then went to Auburn University.
Auburn.
War Eagle.
Nice. Okay. Little rep for anybody from Auburn.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
What did you major in?
And so I majored in aviation management.
Aviation management.
My master's is in aerospace science. So
Nice.
my
Nice.
first master's. So, but aviation management. I wanted to go out and run an airfield.
Nice.
And the Air Force happened to be, in the late 80s. We were building up. It was the last of the Ronald Reagan era.
Yep.
We were building up, and so they needed people in the Air Force. And
Wow.
my dad asked me, and that's how I got into the Air Force. My dad asked me, well, what do you like to do?
Right.
I said, Dad, I like to travel and I like to meet people. So he says, hey, well, why don't you join the Air Force?
Nice. Nice.
So that's what I ended up doing. I was an aviator, a navigator by trade on the
Wow.
KC-135.
Wow.
And had a good time doing that, telling pilots where to go. And
I like it.
but that's okay. They took care of me because they put these black boxes in there to tell them where to go now.
Yep. So they got the black box navigator. They don't need a Mr. G around.
That's right. That's
Hey,
it. Put me out of a job.
What was one of the probably most memorable journeys or adventures you had while you were a navigator?
Oh my goodness, there's so many stories.
Gotcha.
So many stories. But there was at one point in time, I had refueled all refuelable aircraft. Been in the plane.
Yeah.
And rendezvoused with all refuelable aircraft in the Air Force inventory, to include the B-2 bomber and the stealth fighter.
Wow.
And that was a real accomplishment. We'd always done other aircraft as well, but the
Right.
heavies, the fighters, the surveillance aircraft, all of them. And it was really kind of neat. So
That's awesome. So how many different, so we call them in our day job, major commands. How many different major commands have you worked for? Have you done all of them?
I've done, let's see, Air Mobility Command,
Okay.
AETC, AETC,
Yep.
Education, Transcom. I was at Transcom for the headquarters. Went
Nice.
to UCOM,
Okay.
and now PACAF.
So he's done just about all,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
That's
almost.
nice.
Yeah, almost.
So being in Japan, how long have you been here?
I've been here just over a year now. My wife
Nice.
Sarah and I have been over here about just over a year.
And Mrs. G is just as awesome as Mr. G, man. Two of my favorite people. Whenever they're in our hallway at our day job, I just smile. I'm like, it's a good time, man. Mr. G, so here, Okinawa, what is one of the most memorable places? Should I say, give me your top 3 favorite things to do in Okinawa.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So many things to do in Okinawa.
Yes.
This place is awesome. I just love it here. The people make it so wonderful.
Yes.
I just couldn't be happier. Sarah and I are both falling over ourselves at how courteous and wonderful these people are.
Awesome.
They make us feel really, really great, and
Awesome.
special. So I would say, one of the things that we loved, it happened just this past spring, was the cherry blossoms.
Yes.
We went up to Nago, Castle Park up there. It was fabulous. It was right at the peak, and it was a beautiful day. Lots of stairs. So you got, if there's one thing in Japan you got to do, is you got to be in shape.
Yes. Stairs for days.
Yep. And there's people walking around here at 5 o'clock in the morning. I see them all the time.
Yes.
But so the cherry blossoms are just absolutely wonderful.
Awesome.
The second thing I would say is the follow up to that is the next best place for us is 60 feet down in the water.
I was waiting for him to say it. I've seen the pictures. Tell us about it.
Yes, indeed. Scuba diving.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's another world down below.
Beautiful.
And it's so great. Okinawa is one of the few places in the world where you can actually walk into your scuba dive without having to take a boat or anything like that. Now, taking a boat is great.
Yeah.
But there's so many places you just walk right in from the shore.
And I'm going to tell you guys, Mr. G is the reason that I'm taking swim lessons so that I can do scuba diving. My goal was February, but so many things happened. And so I'm hoping for the summertime.
There
So,
you go.
Mr. G, that you were my inspiration. I saw pictures.
That's right.
And I was like, Mr., what is this? And he started telling me, yeah, we go scuba diving. Yes.
Yeah, there's this turtle that comes up and
Yeah,
sits
the
right
turtle.
next to us. Oh my gosh.
I was like, that's surreal.
It was unbelievable. It
Awesome.
was simply unbelievable. I was like beside myself.
And it's any part of this island pretty much is a spot, right?
Yep,
to go?
pretty
Wow.
much. Pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah, it's really wild.
Have you been out towards I know there's different islands like Iwo
Iwo and we went to the Karamas.
Karamas.
Karamas are awesome.
Wow.
Just great. You take the Kadena Marina boat over there. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive over, and you get down and you do a couple dives. Oh my gosh, absolutely fabulous.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So he told us about scuba diving
Mm-hmm.
and the cherry blossoms.
That's right.
What's another one?
The last one that I got is all the food.
Oh, yes.
I tell you what,
Yes.
the food around here is just amazing.
Yes.
I just really love it. Soba is unbelievable.
Yes.
And I just really, really enjoy that. And one of these days we'll get back into the Ichiban and do the barbecues and all that kind of stuff.
Man, I can't wait.
Yes, but you're looking forward to that again.
1 year, Mr. G's been here. He's got to see the cherry blossoms. We're doing some amazing scuba diving. I've seen the pictures. And what he touched on it, but let me tell you guys, he had a video of literally a turtle just coming up and saying, what's up? Giving him that, swimming off like a cartoon.
That's right.
And you're right. The food here is surreal as well. It's next to none.
That's right.
It's second to none. Yes, Mr. G, 1 year in, you were a navigator. And so how you did 20 years in the service? How
20
many?
years, 21 actually.
21.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. And then you came back. You told us last time.
That's right.
That's what's up. And we're so blessed to have you.
Thank you.
The whole purpose of the show, and I couldn't think of anybody to have on as a co-host, when you come, is always a delight. But your positivity, your energy is something that I look forward to every day.
Thank you.
And we make it a point, no matter what's going on throughout the day, if we pass each other, we got to say what's up.
You're saying,
Mr. G,
hey,
Khalid,
what's going on?
What's going on? And there's something to that. And some people miss that. It's those connections with people that you have. I know if I'm having a bad day or I need to just get away from my desk, Mr. G's a door away. What, 2 doors down?
Yep,
Two
that's
doors
it.
down.
2 doors down.
And that's when we talked about self-care and having that accountability buddy, the battle buddy, and a teammate. And I mentioned him. I was like, I know if I'm, especially like this, I didn't have to ask twice. And thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
So, Mr. G, you want to be on the show? Let's go.
Let's do it.
So Okinawa is beautiful. And if you're listening, 78.6 FM Yomitan. We're here with Mr. Scott Garricky. He's talking to us today about reflection, self-reflection. Last week we had Mr. Joel Foster, in psychologist, here at our day job, and he did the same. He talked about his perspective, and so we're gonna keep going in this because this is how you track down that self-awareness, that emotional intelligence, knowing yourself, right? And it also ties into not just emotional intelligence, but mindset. When you guys, if you do it's what they say, knowledge is at our fingertips these days.
it.
So look at how all these things that we've been talking about since July of last year. Wow. Crazy how time flies. But how all of this ties together with making you the best version of you. And from reading to the guests that we've had in this show to the information that comes out every day, the lessons, the teachings. I mean, there's so much information out there that it's undeniable. We have the ability to improve ourselves every day.
That's right.
So, Mr. G, thank you again. I'm glad you're here. My accountability buddy, my battle buddy.
Anytime.
Miss G, hopefully you can come see the studio next
That's
time.
right. Maybe next time.
Yes. So if you guys are listening to 78.6 FM, we're not going to do music this quarter. We're going to jump back into music next quarter. I got to provide all the samples and everybody who I want to play. And for me, I'd rather just have a conversation.
Now you're talking.
You know what I mean? The music is cute, and we're going to get into that. And when we do play music, and I've been blessed with Fearless Motivation and Fearless Soul, have actually supported the show and said that I can play their music for free, no strings attached. So the folks listening at 78.6, if you're driving, you'll hear the music. But the folks on YouTube, because of layers of restrictions, you probably won't hear the music next quarter. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Folks driving around, you can hear it. YouTube, you may not. But once we get there, I'll let you guys know. That was my goal, Mr. G.
All right.
I had a goal for 2021.
Hey,
and
goals are good.
slow.
We're going to talk about that.
Slow, yes. Yes. I can't wait. So getting back to it, got some more wonderful information to talk about today. Miss G, self-care, self-wellness, self-reflection, right? If you're back at home and you guys haven't got out because it's raining, let me tell you something. Just because today is a rainy day doesn't mean tomorrow's not going to be better. Wake up, put your feet on the ground, and think about what you want to do next, right? Don't get stuck in today. Don't think about it was raining outside. Find something to do for you that's going to bring yourself back and get you reset and ready for Monday. Tomorrow's still going to be another day for you to take care of you. Mr. G, I have a quick question for you. One quick question. I've been meaning to ask you this. I got like 20 seconds to ask you, right? So, if you could do anything in Okinawa that you haven't done yet, what would it be? And I want you to think about that, right?
Okay.
So you haven't done it yet. We talk about goals and
that's right.
Reflecting. So tell me something when we come back that you haven't done yet.
Okay.
Be right after this break. .6 FM Yomaton. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome. Me and Mr. G are back. Mr. Sky Garricky, of course, is my special co-host today. He said he's going to be on with us once a month. He promised me.
That's right.
And he hasn't broken the promise to me yet.
That's right.
And this is the best part of the month because I get to come in here and not have to run my mouth the whole time. Hey, thanks, Mr. G.
Always.
Mr. G, we're following up, man. What are we talking about today, big brother?
We're going to talk a little bit about self-reflection today.
Okay.
Okay. And how important that really is. I mean, the guest that you had on earlier was had already talked a little bit about self-reflection. We're going to dig into that a little bit more.
Nice.
So
nice. Hey,
but you asked me a question before the break.
I ain't forget. I'm glad you was going to say it. What is something? This is what I asked him before the break. What is something in Okinawa that you haven't done yet that you still say, I'm going to do this no matter what?
Well, that's an easy one. The wife and I, Sarah and I, are still looking to do whale watching.
Nice.
We're going to get out there on that boat, and we're going to get out there and whale watch. As a matter of fact, we were going to do that this morning.
That's right.
But the weather was too bad, and they canceled the trip. So we're still going to do it. We're going to get out there.
I've heard great things about it. Everybody's seen something since they've been out, right?
It's been great. Yeah, it's really been good.
So here in Okinawa, we do whale watching. It's offered through our ITT at our day job.
That's right.
There's also local tours that take you out and you can take pictures. You can get wet in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Today was a rainy day, so
yeah.
All right, it's a whale watching.
It's a whale watching. That's what we're going to look for.
This guy. That's two on my list now that I got to do. Whale watching and scuba diving.
That's it.
Nice. Mr. G. So let's talk, man. So, hey, guys, Mr. G is quarterbacking this one. I'm sitting back. I want to learn from my big brother today about some things and the keys to reflect. So, Mr. G, please take it away, big brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. What we're going to talk about is a little bit about what self-reflection is. What is the definition of self-reflection?
Nice.
Then after that, we're going to talk about what the purpose of self-reflection is. You know, getting into that and really becoming more self-aware, you know, and asking the questions that we need to ask. So what is self-reflection, the purpose of self-reflection? Then so many people have a hard time self-reflecting because they don't know how
Right.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about how you get up and
Nice.
do some self-reflection. You know, I can identify some steps for
Okay.
you to be able to follow.
Okay.
And then after that, you're going to, I want to talk a little bit about the drawbacks, some of the drawbacks of self-reflection, things you need to be aware of
Nice.
when you do that self-reflection and you think about it.
Yep.
And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about the goals.
Cool.
The goals of self-reflection. What is your end purpose of doing self-reflection?
Nice.
Okay. So basically, we're going to start out with the definition of self-reflection. Definition of reflection itself. When you think of a reflection, when somebody says a reflection, what does that mean to you? What is it you think of?
First thing you picture is like a mirror.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
That's right, exactly. And that's exactly the first definition that people always think of. It's an image seen in a mirror or a shiny object. Something that you're seeing, like this glass right here, this plexiglass. I'm seeing myself that's a reflection. Better is for self-reflection, what you're going to do is you're going to have serious thought or consideration. You're going to put some serious thought and some serious consideration to what you're thinking about, okay? Now, you got to understand the roots of the word reflection. Reflection is a Latin word from reflector, and meaning back, and flector meaning bend. So what you're actually doing is you're bending back whatever it is. If it's an image, if it's a sound, if it's a thought, you're bending it back on yourself so that you can gain perspective, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that
Nice.
next. So what is the purpose? After we know what reflection is, what's the purpose of reflecting? And it's basically giving very careful thought to get to the key of self-awareness.
Okay.
Okay? You got to create, it creates meaning so that when you think about these things, it leads you to growth and development.
Okay.
And self-growth and development
Right.
and improvement, because that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Every day we
Every
got an
day.
extra chance to improve ourselves, right?
Better than yesterday.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So what we do is we look at ourselves with curiosity, interest, and inquiry, and self-thinking of those things. And we are objective about it, okay? So you just think about whatever that thought, feeling, emotion, or action is, and you just objectify it.
Okay.
So you don't put any analysis into it or anything like that. And when you do that, it leads you to ask a few why questions.
Right.
Why do I feel this way? Why am I the way I am? And then, how did that thought arise in me? Those are the kind of self-reflecting questions that you're going to ask. And they'll become more self-aware, okay? I did a study, a Harvard Business Review did a study on self-awareness, and they identified two kinds of self-awareness.
Okay.
There's internal self-awareness. That's how you see yourself.
Right.
And then there's external self-awareness.
Okay.
That's how you see other people seeing you, okay? How do you think Winsome Cully sees Mr. Scott Garricky?
Seeing me.
See me. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the two kinds. And the key, those two keys to self-awareness, feedback,
Yep.
and being willing to listen.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nice.
You have to have people to give you feedback.
Exactly.
And then once you do get that feedback, you have to be willing to listen.
Right.
Okay. So, I know that I've got a few minutes left here.
I'll take your time.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the feedback, we talked about that last week as well.
Yes, we did.
And it factors right into that whole, how can I make any changes even if I don't know I need to make change? And that's exactly what's important, to be able to, you have to have a baseline. So if somebody, Mr. G's telling me, hey, Cully, next time, man, you might want to speak up a little louder. I couldn't hear you over the plexiglass.
That's right.
If he didn't tell me that, I'm thinking that every time we get on here together, he hears me just fine, right? So that's that feedback to get back, so I know what changes I need to make. And some people, you mentioned it earlier, they're not willing to accept feedback because they're scared of what they're going to get back.
That's right.
And they don't listen.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too.
Awesome.
So basically, once we have the purpose of self-reflection, let's move on now to how to self-reflect. Because application.
Let's go.
So many people, they just don't know, and so therefore they don't even start. They don't give it a go.
Right.
So the first thing you want to do is you actually want to identify some important questions that you want to ask yourself. Don't answer them right now. You don't answer them right now. You're just thinking of these questions that you're going to ask yourself later on. And things like, am I committed to my own self-improvement? Committed. Now, commitment is staying loyal to what you say you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. Okay, so it's just staying committed to what you said you were going to do. Am I committed to my own self-improvement? Do I like my current situation, my current circumstances? What am I avoiding? Is there something out there that I'm not going? How or what am I going to do to improve my circumstances? And then if I'm at work, how can I help people become more efficient or effective? How can I become more efficient and effective at work? You know, just those are those tough questions that you're going to have to sit and think and mull over and chew on for a while. And then that way you become much more self-aware.
Right.
So after you identified the questions, the next step you want to do is you want to select a process.
Okay.
Okay, so some people, they like to journal.
Yeah.
Okay, but journaling's not for everybody.
Right.
For me, I like to write it on a Word document.
That's
okay,
what's up,
so it's either that or an email or some scratch.
Right.
But because I can't write,
Gotcha.
nobody can
Gotcha.
understand my chicken scratch. So anyway, but you got to select a process.
Yep.
Okay. Once you've selected a process, schedule a time.
Got you.
Put it on a calendar. Block off a block of time and just say, I am going to reflect
Okay.
during this period of time, and I'm going to chew on one question.
Got you.
You know, and that's just it. You got to start small.
I got you.
Okay, getting that ball rolling is the hardest thing, and once you have it going, the biggest step is the first step, and that's to start small.
Okay.
So once you do that, I'm going to take a Nike commercial and go, just do it.
Let's go.
You set the time.
Yes, sir.
You're there.
Yep.
You just do it now.
Gotcha.
Okay. So be still, think, consider multiple perspectives, examine your way you're thinking, ask those questions, and start reflecting back on them.
Nice.
Write them down if you have to, or do whatever you need to. Finally, if you're having problems with all of that, ask for help.
Nice.
Okay? Ask for help. You may have a lack of desire for time or experience, skill in reflecting or something. That's okay. There's a lot of people out there that are skilled in helping you reflect. Okay? And so consider a colleague or a therapist or a coach or somebody like that.
Nice.
They will help you make the time because you're committed to coming down here and talking, right?
Yep.
And then they will listen to you carefully, and then they're going to hold you accountable. Okay, they're going to hold you accountable. If you're the therapist, you're paying for it. You got skin in the game.
Hey,
you know.
Yes. Invested in yourself.
Invested in yourself. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Exactly.
Nice.
So okay.
So you mentioned something. So journaling. If you don't like to write it out, type it out.
That's right.
And then something cool. I got it in my backpack. What I do, and I started doing this probably in January. Because it's unique. Not a whole lot of people do it except for writers.
That's
Record
right.
it.
That's it.
Record it. I got this little IC player, and sometimes I don't feel like typing or writing. So I'll speak into this recorder, and I'll play it back to myself later. So if I'm having a thought I can't really dive into at the moment, Mr. G,
That's it.
I'll speak it in here. Now, Mr. G's seen it. Sometimes my door at the office would be closed. And they're like, they're in a meeting? No, I'm trying to put my thoughts into this bad boy right here, so I can listen to it later and dive deeper into it. I don't want to address it at that point.
That's right.
But I know I need to reflect on it later.
That's
Yes,
a
sir.
perfect way to capture it. You know, sometimes I'll jot it down on a sticky note because if I walk out the door, I'm going to forget what I
You're
said,
gonna forget. Yes.
was thinking about. So you have to write it down really quickly.
Right.
And that is a perfect example of
Yes,
a
sir.
different process that you can use.
Yep.
So
And it works
It
for
is.
that person, for the individual. It has
That's
to
right.
work for you. What works for Mr. G
that's right.
may not work for me. What works for me may not work for, someone we're mentioning these to. So we want to give you options of how to apply. Yes, sir.
That's it exactly. So,
Perfect.
yeah. If you figure out a way to do that, that's the way you want to capture it. And
Nice.
whatever works best for you.
Nice.
So
Yes, sir. So we talked about the reflection, self-reflection, application, and coming back. What we going to cover on, Mr. G?
couple of the things we're going to cover at the next segment is going to be drawbacks to
Okay.
self-reflection, some of the things you got to watch out for, some of the pitfalls.
Okay.
And then finally, we're going to look at the goal of self-reflection. What are
Nice.
those benefits that you're going to reap out of being self-reflective?
Nice. So coming back, we're going to talk to Mr. G, close up self-reflection with the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency segment. We'll be back to you right after this break. Thanks, Mr. G.
All right. Mm.
78.6 FM Yomaton. This is Positive Vibes with Winston. We're back. Again, we have my co-host, Mr. Scott Garricky, here with us today. We're talking about self-reflection. So the last period, we talked about how to apply self-reflection to our everyday lives.
Mm-hmm.
He opened it up and told us about the definition of what it means to really self-reflect. Now we're going to tie it in a little bit more, dig a little deeper, close it out. As you know, the third segment is always dedicated to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. That's my family, and they are listening in. We connect the team to these links. This is going to be the first time I'm actually going to show the video on their Facebook page. Normally, I kind of just send little messages, but this is going to be the first time we edit it down so we can send this segment to them. So thank you so much if you guys are listening in from the Air Force Wounded Warrior War Team. And if you guys are driving and you're familiar with the team, the Facebook page is out there for them. Mr. G.
Hey.
Diving back into self-reflection.
Yes, indeed.
All right, sir.
So in the last section, we talked a little bit about what reflection was, self-reflection
Yes,
was, definition of it, purpose of self-reflection.
Yep.
You know, we're going to ask some questions and see how our questions get us to be more self-aware.
Yep.
Okay. Then we gave you some steps on how to reflect.
Okay.
You know, starting out with identifying those questions you want to ask. Then figure out a process, schedule a time. Then start that small little ball rolling with just a little bit of time, 5-10 minutes maybe. That's all it takes.
You said like Nike, just
That's
do it.
And then just do it. And ask for help if you need it.
Nice.
So this segment, what we're going to do is wrap this up with a talk a little bit about the drawbacks of self-reflection and the goals. Just some of the drawbacks, the pitfalls that we need to watch out for.
Okay.
If we go into self-reflection and become obsessive about it,
Right.
then we're going to start tearing ourselves down, and basically it'll lead to some negative thoughts.
Gotcha.
Okay, that negative thoughts are basically self-judgment and condemnation. Okay, and once you start down that path, it's the wrong path to go. So. Now I know that we're big fans of Simon Sinek and start with why. Start with why. And some of those questions up there that I talked about a little bit earlier was, why do I feel this way, or why am I the way I am? Those type of things.
Right.
Okay, so those are good to start your self-awareness questions. But when you're actually talking about trying to improve yourself, you need to ask more what questions. Okay, so why is maybe not the right question. I got this from another Harvard Business Review study, and it says basically that the reason why you don't want to ask why questions is because you got all these thoughts, emotions, feelings, and motives up in your head
Right.
that are unconscious. You can't access those. You don't understand why they're there. So what we do is we ended up trying to invent some answers. And then that would lead us to a lot of, that'll lead us into a conversation. We would fall circumstance to cognitive biases.
Gotcha.
And those, unfortunately, that's a whole nother segment.
Oh, yeah.
We could talk about cognitive
That one's
biases.
coming up. Cognitive biases,
Yes,
cognitive
indeed.
traps. Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Yes, sir.
So we don't want to go there.
Gotcha.
So the what questions that we want to be asking are much more objective
Okay.
and future focused. Okay.
Okay.
They're objective and future focused. And so, for instance, if you don't like your job, the what question that you need to ask, instead of asking, why do I feel terrible? The what question is what circumstances or situations are making me feel terrible?
Gotcha.
The what. You got to ask the what.
Gotcha.
What do I need to do in order to change my circumstances, my situation, my life? Those are the what questions that you need to ask. And then you may need to help. You may need to find a counselor for that.
Yep.
Okay. I went to Air Command and Staff College in residence, and a guy that was in my seminar is Dr. Fred Stone, and he's a psychologist, and he said everybody could use mental health therapy. So don't think that. Well, heck, you go to the gym and all that. You got fitness people that tell you what to do, this, that, and the other, right?
Yep.
Hey, the same thing with your mental health.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have some mental health.
Every fitness trainer had a coach at one time.
That's exactly
Yes,
right.
sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So those are kind of some of the drawbacks that you don't want to do. You don't want to become self-judgmental and condemn yourself.
Okay.
You want to actually turn those things around and ask, how can I change the circumstances that I'm in to make me feel better about myself and change my circumstances?
So the question isn't always going to be why.
That's right.
So you got to start asking why, what, and then you mentioned a second ago, how.
That's right.
So why am I feeling this way? What can I change? And how do I change it?
That's exactly right.
Oh, nice. Okay. That leads to action steps too.
That's exactly right. And that's the part of the goal.
That's
it. So we covered some of those drawbacks, but let's talk about the goal of self-reflection.
Nice.
The goal of self-reflection, I feel, is it's going to lead you to growth and positivity.
Okay.
Okay? Growth and positivity ultimately lead to your self-improvement. Okay? So you're going to learn how to grow, and you're going to become more positive about that because you're going to see where those things are that you're making changes.
Right.
And if you've made those changes, you're going to get positive feedback from that, and that's going to help you self-improve.
Nice.
You're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what you need to do is you need to set yourself a time, a regular time to do this, daily, weekly, and monthly if you can. And then sometimes at the end of the year, it'd be good to just do an overview.
A recap.
A recap.
Yes,
That's
sir.
exactly right.
Nice.
So the things that you want to do is you want to look at, as you look back, you don't want to necessarily look back to see all the bad things that you've done, but rather just to see where you've come from.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? And how far you've come. And then you want to see where you're at right now and then see where you're going.
Gotcha.
Okay? So you want to look where you're going and set goals and make a plan. Because, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail,
That's
right?
it. That's it.
You got to make a plan. So you have a goal out there. Say whatever it is. I'm going to do 50 push-ups during my PT session. Okay, make a plan.
Yep.
What's your plan to get to that goal?
Because you're not going to just jump out and do it.
Nope.
I got you.
It really isn't. And
Yes,
so,
sir.
when I started to do marathon running, which is a long time ago.
Look at these stories. Hey, next time we got questions. Yes, sir.
Now, if you can see, that I'm a 200+ pound guy, you can get out there and do a marathon.
Let's go.
Sorry, I don't want to hear excuses. So.
Nice. Hey, I'm putting that in my notes right now.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
But I tell you what, though, you put a plan together, and some people have already done that. So I went and looked up a guy in Portland who does training for the Portland Marathon.
Okay.
And he has several different plans out there for guys that are fast, medium, slow, starters, experienced. And he had all that together, and I read through it, and I picked out a plan, and then I just started on it.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do it. Just do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then once you do that, obviously the benefits are tremendous. The benefits are going to be that you're going to be happier because you're seeing progress. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to be less burned out.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Those are really some of the goals that you want to, and you're going to be happier.
Yes.
You know, in your life, and that's you know, you're going to be self-improved. You're going to see improvement happen every day, as long as you stick to the plan.
Okay.
You know, and if you plans change.
I'm glad you said that.
You know what I'm saying? Plans can change. If it doesn't seem to be working one way, change your plan.
That's right.
Change your plan and get it to where it's going. And then you can really self-improve.
Right.
So
I like a term I heard a few months back. They were saying, you got a goal, you got a finish line. Don't change your goal, just change the path to get there.
There you go.
So that when plans change and things change, life gets in the way. You don't have to mean you have to eliminate or get rid of your goal. You just change the routes that you're taking to get to it.
That's exactly.
But hold on to it.
That's it.
And hey, those action steps when you're chopping away, Mr. G, and you mentioned this, you feel better about yourself, your positivity, because you're accomplishing something.
That's it.
You're reaching those goals and you're seeing yourself improve.
That's it.
Mr. G mentioned the marathon running. So think about this, guys, and he mentioned the gym too, right? So you're thinking running a marathon, doing push-ups. Think about that guy who says, I want to be able to push 225 pounds on the bench. And he walks in and he can barely do 90. If he keeps going back and, like Mr. G said, gets a coach, maybe somebody who is pushing up 225 pounds. And that's that person who's going to support him, teach him, get him through it. And we can't always do it alone.
That's right.
So when you guys are running into stumbling, fumbling blocks when you're trying to get going, and you can't just do it, you don't know what's blocking you from getting it, find that accountability teammate, that battle buddy. Go sit down with someone who's a professional that can help you figure out the path that works best for you.
That's exactly right.
And they're listening, right?
That's it. Listen.
That's it. Mr. G, you got anything else on this topic?
You know, I think I've covered most everything. I just, you know, if self-reflection helps you become more self-aware,
nice,
and being able to improve yourself.
Yes, sir.
That's what this whole show is all about.
Can you recap for the folks who weren't here for the Air Force Wounded Warrior team?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
This talk that Winsome and I have been having has been about self-reflection. We went through a little bit of definition of what what reflection is, and then we talked about the purpose of self-reflection, how it's going to make us more self-aware, and the questions that we're going to ask. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I the way I am? And then it's going to be how to reflect. I gave several different steps that you need to do. I got to identify some questions. You got to select a process that works for you. You got to schedule a time and then start. You just got to start small. And if you're not ready to do it, maybe an hour is too long. Go 5 minutes. Go 10 minutes, and then, like Nike, just do it.
Nice.
And ask for help if you need to. Then there are some drawbacks, okay? You got to be aware of the fact that if you do this self-reflection, you may become obsessive about it. And then because of that, you're going to have some negative thoughts like self-judgment or condemnation. We don't want to go down that path.
Right.
Better to ask the questions of what. So if you're feeling bad at your job and why do I feel terrible, rather you should ask, what are the things that are making me feel terrible? And just be objective about it. And then figure out what are the things I need to do to change my circumstances, to make myself better. And then finally, I ended up with the goal of self-reflection, and that's ultimately self-improvement.
Nice.
You're going to make yourself better by doing these things daily, weekly, monthly, a year, and you're just going to basically look at where you're going. You're going to set a plan, and you're going to set a goal, and you're going to make a plan to reach that goal.
That's right.
That's what it is. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to feel less burned out.
Listen, this Mr. G bringing that sunshine to the studio here at 78.6 FM Yomitan. Mr. G, thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
He covered everything I hoped and more. Positive affirmation and self-reflection, right? Bookends of your day. Wake yourself up with affirmation. You got this. You're going to do this. And then at the end of the day, reflect on what happened during the day and how can you be better tomorrow.
That's right.
What did you learn? Hey, I'm going to share this with you guys closing down. For the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency team, not everybody is on my Facebook, so I'm going to share this with you so you can hear it. I typed this and I sent this to friends and family. This week, it was better than yesterday. Sorry I've been away. I was working on an important project, and guess what? That was me. The greatest version of you has been waiting for you your whole life. Don't make it wait any longer is a quote that I love. People, places, and things. As Mr. G said, it's not who you know, where you've been, or what you have that matters. It's the heart.
That's right.
That you show, the impact you make on other people's lives, and the story that you create along the way. You won't please everybody. Not everybody's going to love you and like you and be your best friend. But you know what? Just focus on being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind and always bring your heart. Don't forget about you. With life being a graded event, even most of us get caught up with everyday struggles and don't build in that little bit of time to reflect,
That's right.
to take care of ourselves. That self-care that's so important, because you can't give into anybody if you're not giving into yourself first.
There you go.
You'll be on E. So listen to me, man. Capture your day, evaluate yourself, show yourself how you can grow and evolve. And don't settle for whatever life throws your way.
That's right.
When you lose sight of yourself, you lose your way. Another quote. Find time for you. Mr. G, thank you for being a guest today. You,
Certainly.
my favorite co-host. He's been my only co-host so far. Still my favorite.
Awesome.
Hey, everybody out there listening, you owe it to yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself. Trust yourself.
Yes.
Enough to fight for the best version of you. You are loved, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'll see you next week. This is Positive Vibes with Winsome.